Comic Menu Podcast is sponsored by Realistic Comic Books. RealComicBooks.com.
Hey everybody, you know what? We usually do an intro. But yeah, not today. You know why? Let me tell you why. Because we got a show. That's right. Not just a show. We got a good show. All the shows are good, but today's a little special because it's right in my backyard, mofos. That's right. But first, I'm gonna go my spiel because I always say you guys have a reason to be here, not to just see this handsome face in the face of the others, but because we bring you pretty decent content, and you could be watching Matlock and Golden Girls and all the good Silver Spoons. Go watch reruns of Silver Spoons. Go watch that now as a man in your 50s. You'll laugh your ass off to think that kid was cool, but what a weenie. But you decided to show up here every Tuesday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, here on the Comic Menu Podcast. So let's go ahead and bring some guys in. Unfortunately, our buddy Dan. Oh, poor Dan. Dan is just, he's not feeling good. All the hummus is coming out of his nose. He's not doing that great. So let's go ahead and bring this guy in. Sam, which I brought you in because I know you like that. We got Sam here. All right.
Shout out to Dan. Dan, feel better.
Yeah, feel
Caesar,
better, Dan.
Great to be here. I got thrown off with no intro. I was like, oh,
I know. You know what? I think I accidentally deleted it this way. And I did actually. And then I got my brother from another color, Ish. Oh, Ish. There he is. The coolest man in the planet, as some people call him. To me, he's just my brother, man. He ain't heavy. He's just my brother. You know what I'm saying? And then we got the man of the hour, Mr. Mark Fenton. Look at that. Mark, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good. We're putting down cons, writing books. He's like a Renaissance man, right? I mean, he's doing a lot of things.
Staying busy.
With that being said, before we get going, our sponsor, RealComicBooks.com, he wanted me to let you all know that. Let me show it right here. Here we go. We have a 50% off everything on his website using promo code BH50. That's just only for the month of February. I guess he's showing some February love to the community. But 50% off is it's all right, you know. And plus also pre-sale for the he's also doing pre-sale for William Russell's The Mummy. It was the cover by David Gerard and colors by Dan Kemp. It's some good stuff. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's got some good stuff. I'll probably bring it up. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can bring it up now. Can we bring it up now? Why not? Let's see if we can bring it up now. Let's see. Forget it. I'll bring it up later. The laziness of me. But I'll bring it up later. Here we go. We'll just keep that ticker down for my buddy. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about cons, and we're kind of hoping to get my other guest, Brandon, Mad Viking Comics, on, who put on the Spawn Con over there in Denver a couple years ago. Because I have a couple of questions about putting on cons, and Mark here is putting on a con. This is a mouthful, people. All right, I just might have Mark tell you what it is. But what's the name of the actual con, Mark?
It's the longest name in the history of conventions. So it's the Southwest Comic Book and Creator Showcase, SWCBCS.
Right? That's no joke, people.
Tells me everything I need to know, though.
Oh, right?
It does, and every other name and related to New Mexico Albuquerque conventions was taken. So that's where we're at.
So it's going to be on Saturday, April 18th. Doors open at 10 to 6, and Sunday on the 19th of April, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. I went to last year's show. It does not have the lineup that it has this year, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good lineup. If you're one of those people who like the creators, there's quite a few of them. As a matter of fact, let me show you a couple few here. Now, it doesn't really, you got to forgive the, it looks a little weird, people, but it's a little small. But what the hell do you want? I'm from New Mexico, right? Relax. All right, here we go. But let me see if we could. That's as big as I can get it. But I will tell you what. I will read to you the guest list. The guest list, and Mark, please, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Sure.
We got Matt. We got Matt Gagnon. Is it?
Yep, he was the editor-in-chief for Boom since the beginning until they were bought out by Penguin Random House. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we have Brett Booth.
Saturday only for Brett. He has some health issues, so doesn't do a lot of shows anymore. But he's close enough that he said he would come down for Saturday. So,
all right, and then we have Andy Kuhn.
Andy Kuhn, to me, I've known Andy for a long time. I love him. I know a lot of people know him for his turtle stuff, but he's got Fire Breather he created with Phil, and they had the animated series on Cartoon Network. He just had a book with Mad Cave, Wild Animals.
Ryan Quackenbush.
Which cartoon series?
Fire Breather. So it was a movie. They did a movie. I think it was supposed to be a series, but they did the movie for it. And I know he went. It's a while ago. It's been a while since I came out, but that was the other the bigger thing with Andy. He's done a ton of other stuff as well, but that was the big.
So I'm gonna do a rapid fire. We got Redmond Gay. We got Ben Bates, Rick. Jerry,
Gary.
Does he go by Gary?
Gary
Zach Coward,
Gary. Yep.
Chris Sheehan, Alex Rigo, Skylar Partridge, Thomas Healy, Jake Tacito, awesome. Shannon Denton, some guy named Mark Fenton, Daniel Lopez, David Harrigan, Sean Patrick Boyd, Aaron Campbell, Ryan Cody, Craig Rasmussen, wow, Keith Wilson, Trevor Goring, Ariel Jesus Colon, the Phil Bach brothers, and Juan twins. That's a lot. That's a lot, people. That's a lot. So if you're in the New Mexico Albuquerque area on the April 18th and 19th, stop by. Maybe you'll get to see me if you're a fan of the show, and I'll sign something if you want. That's fine. I don't care. I'll throw you guys a bone. All right. Cool.
You can come from other areas too. You don't have to be just from Albuquerque. You're more than welcome to come from Texas, Arizona, Colorado, wherever you
LA,
Yes, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier, by all means. And they can buy tickets on the website, correct?
Yes, and tickets, one of the big things we do is keep things reasonable. So tickets for us are $6 a day to get in, $10 for both days. And then we have a VIP that's $50. We do exclusive prints every year. So last year, Andy Kuhn did this one, the Better Call Saul. Obviously, it's not the right size, but
that's awesome.
And it's got the doghouse in it. That if you're from Albuquerque, you know the doghouse. And then this year, Aaron did the Jesse Pinkman.
Oh.
So these are prints that we give out to the VIPs, just for the support. Friday night, we do a VIP party for them as well. And I figured for $50, you're getting into the show, you're getting a party. We have a swag bag as well. We're lucky enough that we've got some sponsors with Dark Horse and Mad Cave and Boom. So they send us stuff to give out as well.
So, I always wondered, putting on the con, what's the prep time on that? What do you start working like the beginning of last year?
So when we first started, it was easy because, we did a 1-day show first just to see what it, to get a pulse on it and be like, okay, are people really interested? Are people going to show up? Is this something worth, continuing? So in the beginning, it was easy. After last year, really, we started like the next day. I mean, we were already, we've got our dates planned. We've got our dates figured out for like the next 5 years. It's tricky because when we first started, we started in September, and we were trying to avoid big shows because it's, we couldn't get guests. We couldn't, we didn't want to compete. And so did September, and it was kind of tough here because you've got the state fair, you've got, other stuff going on in New Mexico, and then landed in April last year. And now we're discovering that, Easter jumps around. So like this year, we're the 18th, 19th, because Easter is the first weekend in April. And then we have a coffee and chocolate festival here. And so last year we were up against them, which kind of hurt us Saturday. This year we made sure to skip that week. So I think now, like, we start planning like the day after. I mean, we've already gotten people asking if they can be part of the show next year. Just because, I've had to tell them, I'm like, I'm sorry, man, we are like at capacity. Wow. Unless somebody drops out, like at this point, we can't squeeze anybody else in.
You got to combine it. What's better with comics and coffee and chocolate?
Right? Yeah. You just wear gloves. You know what I'm saying?
Until somebody spills a coffee on an artist table, and then I got
then you're gonna have to flip the bill and all that stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Because I know that Ish a while back put on sort of it wasn't really a con, right? Ish was kind of more of what was it? What would you call it?
It was a con. Iconicon.
Was it a con? Iconicon.
Coming again.
And it is coming again.
Yeah.
It's. Would you guys find it? And this is for both of you guys. Is it a fun thing to plan?
No.
I don't mind. Just because I just get excited on, the guests we can get. When I reach out, if I get a response, whatever, if it's a no or a yes, it's still just exciting for me to.
Are you
to reach
operating
out to
on a
people.
budget as far as the guests? Like, are they paid talent and the whole nine?
Yes. So the good thing is that we're fortunate enough that, I mean, we don't pay guarantees. If that's what you're saying. Like, so for comic people, a few have guarantees, but for us, we cover hotel, we cover travel, gas expenses, stuff like that. But we're lucky enough that we've got a handful of pro creators in the state that are just willing to come up because they want to do something. The guests that come from out of state, we cover, travel, hotels, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's.
But it is. I mean, we've got to figure the hotel, the hotel costs, and we have to move because like we've run out of room. Like last year we were in the hotel. There was one ballroom that we couldn't get because they had a church group on Sunday and they're gone now. So we picked up that extra ballroom and filled it within like 5 minutes of having it. And so now it's like, we've got to move and we're looking now at the convention center. If we have to go into some of the ballrooms or anything like that, it's been nuts. Like literally after last year we felt was a good year. We didn't really know what to expect. Every year we asked the attendees and the guests and stuff, the vendors, what went well, what didn't go well, what would you suggest? People wanted panels, so we added panels this year. And it's just, it's word of mouth got out good, in a good way. And so like this year, right after Christmas, we just got these waves of people applying for tables. So it's been good. I mean, I'll take it. I've wanted this to grow and continue to keep being able to do it. So I'll definitely take it.
What would you consider the hardest part of putting on a con together? I mean, the one thing you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy.
For me, I mean, the hardest part for me is just and it's not really hard, but it's just like having to turn people away. So it's not something that I've, like that. It wouldn't qualify for like wanting to wish anybody, but for me personally, it's just the hardest part is, having to turn someone away, or someone, coming in late. Cause I mean, and I'm guilty of this too, as a creator, you don't realize that these shows are booking so far in advance that, someone would reach out to me now thinking, well, I've got a couple months, let me see if I can get in. And it's like, sorry, man, we've been full since December, or January. Right. And it's, I didn't think about that either as a creator when I would reach out to shows to see if I could do a show, and when they would say, well, we're full, and I'm thinking, yeah, sure you are, you just don't want me to come, it's not, that, but it really, right. In reality it is like we were full, and I've had to tell people, and I feel bad. I'm like, if you look at the lineup, I mean, you can see just in, our featured guests alone, we're filling 2 ballrooms with that. We've got to bring in vendors to make money, to keep the show going. And we try to have a space for indie creators as well so that they can come in. I mean, they pay for their tables, but we don't, our tables we're probably like one of the least expensive shows in the industry as far as tables. But I want to give them an opportunity to be able to come and show their work. Yeah. I mean, we have, Matt and Thomas do free portfolio reviews for people. And so, there's a chance that if they like it, you could get on Spawn, you could get into, whatever. Amp Comics, who launched at San Diego last year, will be there this year as well. I think they had a couple titles come out, but their big thing they're pushing now is Greatest American Hero for Free Comic Book Day. And so they'll be at the show talking about, what they're working on and stuff like that. So
I would think the hardest, turning someone away, you're crushing someone's dreams. They quit the industry.
Crushing their dreams.
I'd say, they become homeless.
Listen, I don't want them to feel like, that they can't come back and try again,
But
I don't want them to leave with a bad,
When you get to a point where you have to turn people away, unfortunately, it's unfortunate for them, but it's a good thing from a business perspective.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's a good problem to have, just matter of factly, right? Devoid of, emotion, because obviously it is unfortunate, but it's certainly a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's right when you're actually turning down people. That's an absolute, something to a nice problem to have, because
I mean it speaks to growth, right? It speaks to potential for growth. It's absolutely a demonstration of potential for growth.
It's better than no one's coming to my con. Nobody wants to sign up to show up. Nobody wants, you're like Peter Brady and the Brady Bunch, and no one came to your party. You know what I'm saying? It's that. Well, I'm going to tear with some old shows, man. I'm telling you, you can tell what I'm watching before I come on here. So okay. So we got this con, and we got tons of artists. Are there people also selling books? We got booths for books and everything, right? So it's a combination of everything.
We do, yeah. We've got, and this year we've got vendors. I mean, it's surprising to me. I mean, I've lived here for 16 years now. That we have like 5 or 6 comic shops in Albuquerque, and so they've all been, for the most part, really supportive. They've done the show, but then this year, we had a couple coming in from Colorado. We've got a couple coming in from Arizona. And we've got, I think, 1 or 2 from Texas. So for us, because and that's the other thing for us, because we're still a small show, we have a 2-table max, because we can't just have one dealer with 8 tables. And so the dealers for us, they get 2 tables. And so capacity wise, we have to kind of balance that. But I mean, this year we've had, I think we've got 8 to 10 dealers coming in comics. And so that's great. And I hope that they bring a mix, because, you never know what people are looking for. If it's someone like you looking for Silver Golden Age, if it's someone coming in looking for, spec stuff. If it's someone coming in just looking for variants, the 1 in 50s or whatever, that kind of stuff. So I hope, and I think it will. I mean, I hope we get a good mix. Most of the dealers locally have slab walls they bring and set up. So, with that.
The one thing I'm saying by comparison, like for me, it was very important. Sam will tell you, like, to make it like a communal thing. So while dealers, I wanted as many retailers there as possible, but I also wanted to make it accessible, for people like Sam, who isn't a retailer but has a vast collection and will sell books. Just regular people to come in and be able to set up their collection and parts of their collection and things that they wanted to sell.
Yeah.
Something I'm still working on doing, but I kind of want that mix because I feel like there's so many people who are sitting around, like Caesar, for instance, right? That are just sitting on things that maybe retailers don't have, that they're looking to kind of move or, rub elbows with people or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You're right. 100%. You know what? Where would you be, right, Mark, without the community? I mean, you're a published writer. I'm assuming that's your first love, right? Is to write.
Yeah, I mean, I like to tell a good story. I'd like to mix. I've tried doing different genres, like doing a Western now, which was, my dad was a big Western guy, so I was like, let's give this a shot. But yeah, like, and I me personally, like, I like going out. I like doing signings at shops. I like going to conventions and talking to people. For me, and I know people are probably going to like, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard, but, I'll set up some of my books out on the table open so people can actually go in and read the book and look at the art and all that stuff. And, they're reader copies, so it doesn't really, not a big deal to me. But so that's Raymond Gay. So that's the cover he did for the book.
Did he ink it as well?
He did. Mm-hmm.
That's some nice work. That's some really nice ink work on that.
Yeah, no, Raymond Gay is talented.
Raymond has blown up in the last
that's amazing.
Couple of years.
Yeah, he's been. I met him at the at Albuquerque Con a couple of years ago, and very nice guy as well. He's not one of those. He's not one of those. Don't bother me. I'm staring at a wall. Kind of guy, and he's very talented, but that's pretty badass. And I'm always drawn to the black and white. As much as I do like the colors, just the black and white to me, it's pretty stark. So that being said, Mark, I now kind of want to pick your brain.
Sure.
First comic book you picked up as a kid. What drew you into this community? What's the first one?
So it's the longer story. I'll try to abbreviate and stuff, but I had the same story as most people, except for me. It was great grandmother took me to the grocery store with her. I went to the comic spinner up by the front office stuff while she did shopping. But the first book that like really got me was the Marvel DC crossover with Teen Titans and X-Men with Walt Simonson drawing it. Yep, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Walt multiple times. Super nice guy. Awesome. Yep. That one was for me just because I knew of some of the Marvel DC characters, but to see them both, combined like that, to see, just that. I mean, I love Walt's art as well. So for me, I think that was
of that first run of Marvel DC crossovers, that was the best one.
Yeah,
it was like the one that took itself. They took it seriously. You know what I mean? It wasn't like when Spider-Man was like, we're going to just concoct a great story and act like this actually exists in both realities. It was really great.
Yeah.
What do you think of what do you think of the books that are coming out now? I mean, are you still a reader? Do you still read the stuff that comes out? Are you a part of the whole Absolute world?
So I give everything a shot. And I've stayed with Absolute Batman through I think the first 7. But I'm that guy that still buys floppies, and then I'm like, well, I got no room for this stuff. What am I doing? I got to wait for the trade because I can't keep storing this stuff. But I try to keep a pulse on everything. I've got, enough friends in the industry that like Skylar's on Superman now. So I try to keep up with that. Aaron's got a new book coming out tomorrow from Vertigo. And so, I try to keep up with that stuff. Andy just had Wild Animals with Mad Cave. So I try to keep up with that.
Bleeding Hearts?
Yes. No, not Bleeding Hearts. They have, I know it. It's where the people wake up chained to a boat. I think it's like something Shadow. But I didn't realize like all the Vertigo or most of the Vertigo stuff was coming out tomorrow. There was like 5 or 6 titles, but no, Aaron's is, I can tell you really quick.
Did you enjoy the Absolute? Did it capture? Did it get you?
So I've met Scott Slater a couple of times, and I met him before he like really blew up, and he was always super nice, sincere guy. And I've always liked his takes on these things, and I think it's definitely an interesting take on Batman. It's something new and original on, the backstories for the villains and for Batman. And I, as a writer and stuff myself, I really think, you have to keep, pushing the envelope and coming up with new and interesting ideas, not just rehashing the same, every 10 years, rehashing the same story or things like that. So I'm a fan. I didn't really get into the Absolute Superman. People are telling me that I should have stayed with it, that it got better. I stayed with Absolute Wonder Woman, I think, through like the first 5. And it was good. But I really find myself more drawn to the indies.
I was going to say, what's your preference, indie or mainstream? What's at the top of your reading list?
Yeah, I mean, now it's indies are big for me. I was a big fan of the Beneath the Trees.
Samantha Strong.
Oh God, what was it?
Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Yes, yeah, the first one. Yeah, the first one's I was a big fan of that. And then sometimes I'll just look. Like I like Rick Remender as a writer, big fan. So I'll look for his stuff.
Like
Skylar does a lot of stuff too. Yeah.
So what's at the top of your reading list? What's the first thing you read? What's priority?
So for me, probably indies more than anything else. I always try to give the first issue at least a shot, to see if I'm going to go with it like that, if I like it. Because I know, like, as a writer, how hard it is, that first issue, to either, you're either going to hook me or you're not. And it's like, it's tough, man, to try to get as much into that book as you can to get somebody hooked and interested enough to want to come back, for the second issue. So
how to being a writer, Mark, I would think that, of course, writing that, coming out with the first issue, right? And you just kind of nailed it. If you don't draw the reader by the first book, and I guess once in a while, and I hear from Ish and Sam and our buddy Dan, who says, give it some time, right? I've heard that. You got to stick with it, right? Yeah. Or wait to the third issue, then it starts getting good. But I would always think that you lose many people who do not have that patience for the third or fourth, right? You get people like Ish who, the way I see it is, and I use Ish because Ish is a huge indie reader, so is Sam, and he has his own, Ish has his own Comic Sense Facebook page. He does his YouTube. He has a brick and mortar, and he's a spec guy, right? That's what he is. And if you ever watch his live shows, lots of indie, don't miss out, and he nails a lot of these, and he's giving them for cover price, if not under. And next thing you know, a week later, it's blowing up. So what's the big flavor of the month? Is it Dork?
Yeah.
Dork.
It's crazy.
Well, really quick though, just to speak to what you're saying, and I don't know if you agree, but it depends, right? Because I do think it's important to do something, especially in a comic book, because people have really short attention spans.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I do think it's important to do something to make people come back. But there's something can be said for the type of storyteller you are. Some people are long form storytellers, right? In that, and some people are short form storytellers, and sometimes long form. I'll give you an example, right? Like 2 examples. Captain America: The First Avenger and Batman Begins, right? They're great now, but after Civil War came out, right after Winter Soldier came out, then you can kind of go back and really appreciate what First Avenger was, and even Batman Begins, which wasn't as strong as the two movies that preceded it, but is necessary in order to really appreciate the two preceding movies, or excuse me, the two movies that came after. You know what I mean? It's very necessary. But I mean, if you look at Batman Begins, like, you don't even see him in the outfit to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't even put on the suit to pretty much, you know, the final act. You know what I mean? And a lot of people didn't hold that movie high when it didn't hate it, but they, you know, there wasn't raving about it until the two following movies came out. And then you go back and it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Because it was a long form storytelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something can be said for that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes the setup, you know, you don't realize it's the setup until you get to issue 2, issue 3, you know, and then you can go back and say, oh, now that makes sense, because that's how we got to where we are now. So
have you guys, as readers, have you guys read indie books where they blow their load in the first issue?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta hook them, but do you think that
I'm talking about like you're like, oh, this is it, you know, this is gonna be fantastic. Then you get to issue 2 and you're like, all right, it's gonna be fantastic again. Issue 3, right? 4, 5, hello. Next thing I'm out. Oh, Department of Truth is one of those.
Yeah, it was for you. The first issue was almost like, really, this is too perfect.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of went. It's not terrible, but that first issue was like, really, like, I had this feeling like, man, this is just like too perfect. And then, you know, you don't get what you got. And I mean, I would take it a step further. Absolute Batman 1 through 4 to me was a slow burn. I could leave it.
Yeah.
Like, I could leave that, but then it got really good. But I could leave 1 through 4, that whole arc.
Yeah, but they know they have you because it's a Batman title and it's Scott Snyder. So like, I feel like you're right with, especially in the indies, they gotta hook you on issue 1. What I can't stand is if they employ that same like, oh my god technique at the end of every single issue, because then, especially when you go and read it back, it doesn't flow. Like, I expect number 1 to hook me somehow, and if it's successful, amazing. But then after that, I don't need that every single issue. Maybe at the end of an arc, sure.
Well, it's like a movie, right? They can't have a fight scene for an hour and a half. You know what I mean?
yeah, but that is true, and that is your Michael Bay. You know, so before we continue on, Brandon just joined. Brandon, I don't think you've actually officially met Ish and Sam.
What up?
Brandon, Mad Viking, friend of the show. He's been on. It's been on a lot of times. He was our buddy at arms when we did the 1 chip challenge. He did that. That was iconic. Brandon, Mark Brandon. I asked Brandon to come in because Brandon was behind the Spawn. What did you call it, Brandon? SpawnCon?
We called it SpawnCon. There's like 5 or 6 of us that were all involved.
And what was your experience? Did you have a good experience doing that?
Yeah, it was a great. I mean, we had some hangups that kind of hamstringed us right towards the end of it. I mean, we were starting to wonder if we were going to have to cancel even, and it came through in the end. It wasn't quite like we wanted. We had to rush some things at the end because we just were in limbo, and like I said, we were thinking we may end up having to cancel.
Have you ever gone to that point, Mark, where you're like, I don't know if it's going to happen, man? You know?
Yeah. I mean, year 1, like I said, we did a 1-day show just to see, you know, get a pulse on it. And, you know, we didn't know what to expect. You know, year 2, we were like, how can we improve this? But we'll try 2 days. And we found that, you know, our location wasn't the greatest. So, and Sunday's always a slow day. So Sunday ended up being, you know, bad for us. It made us rethink, okay, maybe this can only be a 1-day event. You know, maybe we can't make it a 2-day show. But, you know, we talked to some of the creators and then, you know, the vendors and stuff, and they said no. We'll support it. We've done well enough. We've made enough money that we're interested in coming back. And so last year, year 3, we moved because the first 2 years we were at the Shriners because we worked out a deal with them where we didn't make any money on the show. The door fees went to them for letting us use the facilities, and so. We didn't want to lose our shirts on trying this to see if it would work. We just wanted to, see if there really was, going to be a drawing for it. And then year 3, we're like, well, we're all in, so we'll move to a hotel. We'll get the bars there, so we'll have that set up. We'll have the rooms available. We'll get a room block, and we'll see how it goes. And it went well enough last year that it was still Sunday was still a slower day. But I talked to everybody before they leave, and everybody had a good time at least. The creator said, hey, I got commissions that I wouldn't have got if I was sitting at home, so I'm cool. I made more money than I would have made, not being here. The vendors, same thing, said they made enough that they were good, with what they made to cover their expenses and stuff, and they had a good time. And to me, that's the thing that I like seeing is, they're trading with other people, they're talking to other people, they're working out, stuff like that, and meeting new people. And so I don't think we ever got to the point of like where we didn't think we'd be able to open the doors or, anything like that. Like we weren't that bad. But, after the show, we did, we take about a week off after the show, and then Don and I will regroup and we kind of just talk about the pros and the cons, the feedback we received. We ask everybody, what did you like? What didn't you like? What could we add, that would give you value to the show?
Did you run that too, Brandon? How many days was your show?
It was 2 days. It was Saturday and a Sunday.
And was your Sunday was it slower or was it just as equal as your Saturday?
Our show is real small. Like I said, we got hamstringed at the end, and ours was because of copyright. Yeah, we had to have approval because we were so close to the Spawn character and the IP. And, that's what we ended up waiting on. We had to get approval, and we got it at the last minute. But it just kind of hamstringed us because we didn't want to promote it like we should have, because it was like, well, we don't know what we can promote.
Right, that's tough. That's really tough.
That you took it. But you took a risk.
I got to tell you really quick though, I really respect that, because that's like, listen, man, I want to do this thing. I want to do the Spawn Con. I want to use the Spawn IP, and I don't know if I can, but I'm going to do everything that I can until they tell me no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to do this, and the worst that can happen is no when it goes down the drain. But if I don't take that risk, right? Like if I don't jump into the pool and go all in on me, there may never be a Spawn Con. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's really awesome. You know what I mean?
Well, and we went through all the proper channels. We kept reaching out to them. We had contacts within, McFarland and that. We were reaching out and then reaching out. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this because we just wanted to have a show that was more about artists and comic books and stuff. But we didn't want, no celebrities and stuff like that. But, and once we got the ball rolling, got the website going, started selling tickets, then we got noticed.
So I got a question, and that's always the case, right? Like when you start selling tickets and you start making money, they're like, uh-oh, you know what I mean? But I have a question. What? Like it's kind of like sometimes you hear a really amazing song, and the music is phenomenal, and you say to yourself, man, how did they feel when they were in the studio or in the jam session or in the, you know what I mean? What was going through their minds? And so my question to you is, you said 4 people conceived this. Like, what was that like? What was like, did you just say, hey, we want to do Spawn? Or like, how did that happen? How did that originate? Like, what was the thought process? What were you guys, why Spawn?
There was one guy, and he was unfortunate. He actually missed the show because he just ended up having a whole streak of bad luck the week of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought of it, talked to another guy that's a big Spawn collector that travels around for work. He meets all kinds of other collectors. He got the one guy came up with the idea, the other guy started really working on it, and it just kept growing. And like I said, we had about, like I said, 5 or 6 guys all totaled involved in the end. And it just a bunch of us guys that were big Spawn collectors that it's like, okay, let's do this. We wanted to meet the artists. We wanted to bring in people that have been working on the books, especially the older artists, because they don't get recognized as much anymore.
And the concept is kind of unique because, it's arguable, but I think it's a fair argument that Spawn is the face of indie comics, right? Like if you had to choose a face for independent comics, being the longest running independent comic.
Yeah, that, and if not them, definitely Image Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that, Mark? That Spawn
which part? What, Spawn?
No,
I mean, to me, like for indie comics, I mean, I think it depends on your age too, because there was Kitchen Sink back in the day. There was all these other ones, but I think Image was like the big, kick in the nuts, to fans of like, oh, we're putting out millions of copies of our books, and we're doing this rock star tour, and we're here, we're there, we're doing all this stuff. We have 5 different studios that are all doing their own thing. So I mean, I agree. I think Spawn is huge. I think of the Image properties, Todd has kept that one alive and in the best shape compared to like, the Darkness, compared to, Liefeld's stuff. I mean, Spawn has been continuous, Todd, even though when he's done the toy stuff, there's still been Spawn, like he's done, Spawn toys, there's been, and now with like the Gunslinger and those, type of, those spin-off books, I mean, I think, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, we have, 5 Spawn guests this year.
I plan on stopping by.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
Hey,
let me,
are you Brandon? You gonna go?
When I saw Brett Booth is going to be there, I plan on being there for that day.
Yeah, well, he's only there Saturday. Yeah, he's only there Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Brandon, if you're gonna go, because I'm gonna be there because now I gotta go because I have Mark at the show. So
I know where you live. So if you don't show up, man, I'll be at your house that night.
I'm gonna have all these fucking geeky writers show up and egg my house at 2:00 in the morning.
And he's never gonna read your stuff. That's what's up. He's never gonna read.
I know.
Stuff, you know what? It's bullshit because I was gonna read all Mark's stuff.
I'll make a fancy cover for you though, so it'll last the test of time. So
it'll be all blank.
Every 90 days,
all the pictures
are on it. And he's like, yeah, man, send me that. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. Like it never happened.
And the other good thing too is for Spawn fans. So Thomas they do these prints for San Diego, and I think maybe some of the other bigger shows where they'll do exclusive prints where they do like 50 print run or something where the artist picks the image on there. And so Thomas is bringing those for Raymond and for Brett. So we'll have exclusive prints just for those 2 guys that we just give out. We don't charge for them.
Brandon, I'll be excited if you come to visit my town at this time because you came by not too long ago and you kind of just had a cup of coffee and stuff like that. But if you're gonna come in for the show, let's get together, man, because it'll be fun and I'll
definitely. I actually I saw it advertised 2 weeks ago or something because it was and you were advertising that Booth was going to be there.
Yep.
And right away it went on my calendar. I'm trying to I'm at least going to be there for Saturday to meet him because we tried to get him to come to SpawnCon, but he doesn't travel much.
No, he's got health issues. So he told me that he's like in the El Paso area. So this is a day trip for him. He said he could do it. He can only do Saturday because he's got to drive home. So
man, if I'd known that, I worked in El Paso for the last 2 months before Christmas. If I'd known that,
what are you gonna do? You gotta show up to his house. Big burly Viking shows up, pounding his door at 3:00 in the morning.
I've got Spawn pages he needs to sign.
Can you imagine? I'm sorry to bother you at dinner, sir, but can you sign this Spawn? Can you sign these pages?
And I can tell you that I asked him about commissions and stuff, and he's bringing pre-commissions to the show of similar to like the stuff they did for the Gunslinger 50, the sketches.
Yeah.
So he's bringing a bunch of those with him pre-done for the show.
I guarantee you. I can already guarantee you the buddy I'm going with, Joey, he collects OAs, he collects art. I showed him the list, Mark, and he's like, Booth is going to be there. I'm like, Yeah, you're talking to a guy. I'm like, yeah, yo, I know Booth is gonna be there, and he's like, I'm gonna try to get something from him. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure, they're gonna have all their stuff out there. So it's I kind of wish, and this is me wishing, that I was a reader, I was an avid, and the reason why I know people's names is because of this show and because of guys like Ish and Sam and Dan. Yeah, I know. But I it's weird for me because I don't since I don't read, I don't know how good of a writer someone is or is not, right? I'm pretty sure as many as there are good writers, and I know you guys are not going to mention names, but I'm pretty sure you guys know people who write, and you're like, I don't understand why people keep commissioning him to write books because he or she cannot write books. I'm assuming that is a thing. Am I right, people? I mean, like I said, no names mentioned.
Am I not supposed to say names?
What if there might be a guest one day? I don't know. They might hit it big one day, and and I'm like, oh.
Punk was writing like Drax the Destroyer. Man, stop it! Like, stop. What are we doing?
The same goes with artwork, though. You got guys who it's like, how the hell did you make it in the industry? And they're getting books all the time.
Now let me ask you guys, why is that? Mark, I'm going to ask you, Mark. Why is it?
Yeah, sometimes I think it's just like deadlines. Like if they need a cover, if you need something like that, then and this person can turn around for you in 2 days. You have to do it. Like if you don't want to hold up that book, and so if you can get that turnaround that quickly, you put it on there and get the book out. You
remember when fill-in artists were
That's
terrible?
why there was like a 4-year period of Marvel interiors that looked awful.
Terrible. Yeah. Listen, back in the 90s. Fill-in artists were terrible. Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I can tell you one because I think he's great now, like really a great artist now. Dan Panosian. When he first started filling in on X-Force, it was terrible.
What a come up.
He is amazing now. He's really great.
Yep.
Really great. But the fill-in work he used to do on X-Force was terrible. It was bad.
Because I see some covers out there and I go, whew. Is it because that person did one great cover once?
There are some artists that do the same great cover every time they do a cover. And it's the same cover. And Sam knows what I'm talking about. It's the same cover.
Just I'll just say put a Christmas hat on instead of a top hat.
Listen, it's literally. I know one artist that I really like. I'm not going to say names because he may be on the show one day, but I really like this artist. Every time, listen, I posted it in my group where I've just taken 5 covers and it's the same pose exactly. It's just a different woman. It's Elektra. It's Echo. It's like, but it's the same exactly. It's Eric Slaughter. It's what I mean.
If they did it digitally, all they got to do is go in there and put another layer on it. I mean, that's the one thing I don't like about digital art. I mean, it is faster form, but I can't collect it.
Well, this is like watercolor art.
Oh, it's that. Okay, shit.
But it's just the same. But I will say, I can't hate because the reality is, listen, if you could get paid. This person, and first of all, this person is a great artist. So really a great artist, like really. If you can get paid for regurgitating the same art with just a different character, get your money.
Yeah, I don't blame
people are still lining up to buy it, and I'll tell you, people are going to take all of those books and they're going to put them right next to each other on their wall, and it's going to be the same cover, just a different girl.
Right. I don't blame them, like you said. It's just that's just when it gets to the point where I quit buying it. There's certain artists I used to try to get all their covers, and then after a while, it's just like, okay, I've seen this before. Like you said, it's just the same thing regurgitated, and that's when they start to lose.
And I don't want to. First of all, I'm very direct, I'm very forthright, and sometimes I can be very blunt. And I don't want to disparage any artist that's working because all of these artists that I'm talking about are actually good artists. But if I don't call you to accountability, then you're going to continue to phone it in. People continue to buy it, okay. But I should be able to say, hey, I really like your art. Why do I have to get the same cover? Why do I get X-23, Magic, Psylocke, all in this? Every time you do the 1 in 100, it's the same cover.
What I'm going to put you on the spot, Mark. Your favorite writer of all time?
So my favorite writer of all time, I'll stay in comics.
I want to hear outside of comics as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, in comics, I'm a big Roger Stern fan. I've met him. He lives in Ithaca, so I see him if I go home for my local show. But I've always been a big Roger Stern fan. I think a lot of it's because I read so much of his stuff when I was younger. His Avengers run, his all the stuff that he did. So I'm a big fan of his writing. I like Scott Snyder. I'm a big fan, of the stuff that he's writing. Outside of that, like I'm a big Stephen King fan. I get drawn more into those kind of horror fictional books more than the nonfiction stuff. Although I love mythology, I love all that other stuff like that. But for writing, Roger Stern I think was my big one. I don't think he got the credit that he really deserved for a lot of stuff he wrote. It's funny because like I could listen to him tell the Hobgoblin story for forever. Every time I see him, I don't know if you guys know the story behind that, where he had chosen like what the secret identity was going to be for Hobgoblin, and then the editor didn't like it, and so Stern got taken off the book before he could do that. And then
was that the whole Ned Leeds fiasco? Yeah.
And then Christopher Priest did the one-off Wolverine Spider-Man, and then he killed
weird
off,
because he dies in Spider-Man and Wolverine before like the revelation that it's supposed to be. It was really weird, and as a kid, I read it, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm confused. He died over here, but yet he's the Hobgoblin over here. Like,
is that what they did?
Yeah. And so, but it's I love hearing like the stories and stuff like that from all the creators of the things that worked, that didn't work, what they had to do to try to get, approval for the things they wanted to do.
And favorite cover artist of all time?
So that's also one of my favorite artists of all time. And I know everybody isn't a fan, but Chris Bocciolo is my favorite. And he's like one of the nicest dudes in the world.
He improved a lot too from his early Generation X stuff.
His covers are always busy, and I always love like just trying to dissect, everything that's going on in those covers.
I used to have a problem with his noses when I was a kid, and then I got older, and it was like, oh no, he's phenomenal. Chris is phenomenal. His stuff that he did on X-Men, crazy. His Captain Marvel cover
Spider-Man
with crazy.
What about you, Brendan? Who's your favorite writer? Because you read.
Well, I don't hardly read comics anymore.
You don't read? Oh, thank God.
No, I just don't have. I just don't have a lot of the time. I mean, I'll wait and grab like a trade paperback and read it, but I just can't keep up on the monthly and stuff. But I book wise though, like you said, Stephen King, Timothy Zahn, Dean Koontz. I like but comic book wise, Snyder. But,
are you into the whole absolute stuff, Brendan?
No.
Did you give it a shot?
I haven't. Actually, I was going to grab the trade and try it out and see it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's got to be something to it, but I don't know. To me, Batman's not Batman if he doesn't have his Batcave with the like supercomputer and all that stuff, though.
See, so you sound like one of those traditionalists, right? You're the purist, right? That's not my Batman.
Right. No, I didn't get into the heavy metal stuff either.
That was Snyder.
I know.
Too. Yep.
Yeah. I just couldn't get past the concept. I'll admit, I never really gave it a try.
There's a lot of Snyder fans.
And Tinian. I like Something's Killing the Children. I need to get caught up on that. I read the first 2 trades of that. I thought they were awesome.
We're gonna, Mark. We should talk, Mark, because in
who do you like as a writer, Caesar?
I like Mark Fenton. He's a phenomenal writer.
He's read all my books, so yeah.
Mark is great. He's an awesome guy. Puts on a great con. Scott Snyder's fantastic. Whoever else Brandon mentioned and ish. So I lost my train of thought. You said what was I going to say?
I'm a Kieran Gillen. I really like a lot of. I love his style. I love the way Kieran. I really love, and I read a lot of the letters columns that he in his Power Fantasy, and just a very witty, very brilliant writer. Really, really, really witty. I'm a big fan of him as a writer, and also like L. Ewing.
I was going to say,
Ewing's good.
Really love what L Ewing is. Scott Snyder's dope. I was a big fan of.
But didn't he poop the bed on one of a book not too long ago? The people just clowned him. Snyder.
Snyder?
Yeah, didn't he?
Huh?
Which series did it? Who wrote Immortal Hulk?
That was Ewing.
Ewing. Now there was a Hulk book that Donny Cates was writing.
Donny Cates.
Donny Cates.
Never mind. L. Ewing's Immortal Hulk is a definitive run.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got confused with Donny Cates. Because he wrote something good, right? And then he came out with that.
His
Venom run.
And his Thor.
Was
really, really good. And his Hulk was like a spaceship.
Yeah,
he can. I see, and that's the thing. Maybe that's what makes me so popular amongst my own head. The fact that I don't read, I can't. I have nothing to compare nothing to. It's the weirdest thing. I can't.
I can't into a spaceship.
See, but when you tell it to me like that, it sounds stupid as shit.
Because it was.
Right?
It was.
It went 10 issues in.
Even Mark's like, I have him on the show, but it sucked, man. I don't know to tell you.
I mean, the whole thing was bad because then, it left Otley trying to write the ship and write, and draw it. And it just, you couldn't fix that ship. Like that ship had sunk and you could not bring that back. They should have just like capped it and been like, sorry, this is it. We're not gonna
there was really a great.
Oh man, they came back great with the series afterwards.
Yeah, phenomenal. But there was a really great setup that could have worked. It was very interesting in that run where Hulk ended up picking up the hammer and becoming Thor, and Thor got possessed, got infected by Hulk's blood and became gamma irradiated. So they kind of switched, where Thor was like green and was a Hulk, and Hulk was a Thor, and it was a really an interesting opportunity that just didn't get executed really well and didn't work the way it could have.
I'm gonna pick your brain, Mark, because you're the guy who actually wrote a comic book here. What goes through your brain when you're writing something and you're like, yeah, this fucking rocks, right? Like, yeah. Then you like, here, read this. And do you get some of those, I hate to say it, but it's some of those kisses like, oh yeah, Mark, this is fantastic. Run with it, because they're afraid to, it's sort of like, I call it the American Idol thing, where they don't tell that person how bad they are. So they go and audition and then they get told, bad, you suck. So who told you could sing? My mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, right? So when you get to that point, then you have other people read it. Do you go like, why didn't you tell me how this was bad?
So I'm lucky because the first editor I have is my wife, who reads a lot of books but isn't interested in comics, and so she will tell me if the story is moving along at a good pace, if she got lost, if why did this happen? Why did that happen? So I'm lucky with that because she'll read it. She's not going to be interested, and it's not like something that, she's waiting for the next issue, but she'll read it and then tell me, honestly what she thinks, whether it's, you need to rewrite this, or, why did this happen? Or I didn't understand, how these two things, are connected type of stuff. And so I'm lucky, with that, being able to do that. But I have editor friends that will look at stuff for me too afterwards and just kind of say, hey, well, where are you going with this? Is it, are you telling enough here? Like that kind of stuff. And I change stuff like all the time. Like this Western book I'm working on now with Alex Riegel, it was funny because Alex has a very unique style to his art. Which I kind of show you. And it's his style is, I don't know why, but it reminded me of like Mad Magazine or like the Cracked magazine, like those kind of like things. But there's a page from the Western book that we're doing.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a little old school.
And he watercolors all the pages, so it's taken a little bit longer just because he's watercolored like every page. But it's like, it's like the whole concept is just like, first you have to have a good idea, and it's got to make sense to you, and then it's like pitching it to the artist. It's like, he's got to be interested. He's got to have some kind of something in the game to draw this stuff. And it was funny because like when I pitched Alex and I was like, would you be interested in doing a Western? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I would love to do that. And it's like, all right, cool. And so I'm like, there's a lot of Western tropes in it. I'm like, it's, we're in like the early 1900s. I'm like, race is a thing, there's all kinds of crap going on. And it was like, I think he got a little bit nervous there, and he's like, well, what am I going to have to draw, type of stuff. And then, one of the characters has a prosthetic hand. And so like, when I write this stuff, I do a lot of research too and see, were there prosthetic hands back then? Well, yeah, there were, but your hand is basically stuck like this. You're not doing anything with it.
And it's wooden. It's wooden, right?
Yeah. And so it's like, then I have to pitch that, and I have to get Alex to buy in on that and be like, hey, do you want to draw that? Because I've pitched, Westerns to other people, and other artists are like, I don't want to draw horses. Like that's too much, man. I don't want to, do that kind of stuff. So I think, just when you do this, you have to have a good idea to start with. You got to know where you're going with the story. What's the story you want to tell? I try to write mine in 4-issue arcs so we can pitch it as a miniseries. And I usually leave the open ending so that if we ever wanted to come back, we could. We tell our story, but if we want to come back, we could always come back and do that. And like I said, like I'm lucky. Like my wife will read this stuff. I have no interest in it, but she'll read it and then tell me, hey.
I say the same thing about movies, these comic book movies, because my wife gives two shits about it, but I make her watch everything. Right? She watches them because of me.
Sure.
And her perspective of these movies completely different. Right? She's the average person that they make these movies for. Right, sure. Not for us. They make it for the people who just sit down and go, I'm here with my husband, or I'm here with my wife, or I'm taking my kid, right? And then they come out going, oh, I like that. It was entertaining. And the nerd next to that person's going, that sucked. Right. So my wife is that person of, I really like that. So when we watched Superman, she looked at me and she was like, oh, that sucked. But
your wife gets a unique experience because you're a nerd who doesn't read comics, so you're not saying
you're absolutely correct.
It happened
you're right.
like this, or
because
really this.
You're right, Ish. I can't say, well, in the book, he's actually has blue hair, But the thing is, when we watched Fantastic Four, and there was a couple of scenes, she looked at me, she was like, "Wow, that was awesome," and I'm going, interesting. So you like Fantastic Four, but I liked it way better than Superman, right? I'm like, okay, all right. It's like, lay down on this table. We're gonna talk about it, right? We're gonna dive into your brain to find why is that. But so in that vein, Mark, when Cates wrote this dumpster fire as what it, Donnie, I keep always want to say Danny Cates. When Donnie wrote this. How does it fall through the cracks where the editors and maybe his friends or maybe his wife read and going, that's just pretty good. Roll with it. And then where he comes to the populace, they're like, this is garbage. I mean, why did he get published?
I think, he was hot. So, Venom was great. Thor was hot. Right. And so they're looking for the next thing that they can sell that's going to sell a ton of copies. And you're going with the hot guy.
He probably wrote the greatest Silver Surfer story ever told.
Oh, that's right, because he did Black, right? Silver Surfer Black.
Yeah. And so going into it, Cates has the advantage. he's hot. He knows that, that they're looking for the next thing from him. And so, I mean, I don't know, I have no,
right.
inside knowledge, but, the way that it usually works is that, you'll say, okay, this is what I want to do next. And then they're okay. Well, what do you want to do with that? And then, who knows? I mean, he may have pitched one thing and then, got into it and like, oh, this isn't working. I don't know how I can fix this. But I think just being that hot creator where like, Scott Snyder right now could probably go to any publisher and say, hey, I want to do this. And okay, let's do it, sign him up and let's go. Let's do this book.
Because of history, right? I mean, and the thing is that it's almost equivalent to I'm going to say M. Night Shyamalan, right? He blew his load on that first one, and he comes out, he goes, all right, everybody, I got a second one, right? And you're like, okay, it sounds great. And then you come to find out that it wasn't that great. So do you go like...
Well, he's still writing great movies. He just doesn't put his name on them because...
Right. But what I'm saying is, but it's kind of that thing where, he did it and we were like, it's all right, but it wasn't the Sixth Sense. But don't worry, I got another one. It's about this family where, I take that back. It's going to be in an elevator, and let's run with it. It's not that good. So yeah, I would think the same thing happens when you have a hot name attached to something and they're like, sign him up. Now, Cates, you're right. He could probably walk in right now and goes, I have an idea. They're going to go like, because of your pedigree, because what you've done in the past, you might strike gold again. And we're going to be behind it.
Terrible. And that came out after. So like now he's kind of had some terrible.
What was terrible?
Yeah, he was in an accident. Yeah,
he was. Yeah. But I will say to Case's credit, and this is just my thoughts on it. The pitch for Hulk probably wasn't bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like it's bad. It's because the idea really is Hulk has all these different types of Hulks inside of him, right? And in order to control this, like Bruce Banner has to steer the ship, so to speak, right? And he has to feed Hulk's rage to keep this machine going. And the pitch probably isn't bad if you pitch it, but when you read it, the execution,
the delivery,
the delivery actually was bad. You know what I mean?
And that probably happens a lot. I'm assuming that probably happens a lot with the pitch sounds phenomenal, but the actual execution just doesn't do it right.
Because the actual character Hulk really does, like Mr. Fix is in there, Devil Hulk is in there, Strong Hulk is in there, like Hulk,
Smart Hulk,
Smart Hulk. There's that one version of Hulk that's not as strong as Raging Hulk, but he can articulate and talk, and he's still big and great. Not Professor Hulk. He can just kind of articulate. There's so many different aspects of Hulk inside of Hulk. You know what I mean? So
now, Brendan, I have you on here. What's your fascination with Spawn? Is it a youth thing? Is it because of your childhood and you kind of loved him then, and then he just, or what is it? What is it?
Well, I mean, it was like one of the third things I read when I started getting into comic books again.
What's the first? Wait a minute. What's 1 and 2?
Venom Lethal Protector. I happened to be I don't know if you guys know what Shopkos are. They used to have comic books on the end rack. I was just bored, wasting time, walking through the toy aisle because I think the Star Wars toys are starting to come out. So I was just walking through the toy aisle. I looked over and saw this freaking thing with the big teeth and tongue. This big old monster.
Bright red foil cover.
Bright red, yep. I was like, what the hell is this? And I grabbed that, and that, then I found out Todd McFarlane co-created Venom, and it just led me down the rabbit hole. But what really got me with Spawn is he's just a guy that, he's supposed to lead Hell's army, but he basically tells Hell to, sticks it to Hell. He does his own thing and he fights against it.
I think the best thing that ever happened to Spawn was Todd McFarlane stopped writing it.
When did he stop writing it?
Early on, he started having guest writers come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll admit. Yeah, his because like this, that's what I want to start reading it from the beginning to the right current, because I know it doesn't match up. There's just no way from what
his first few issues were so hard to read. It was a great book, but he would do this thing in order to like narrate story. He had this really bad tool where he had like 6 news reporters, and it would just be this 2-page spread, and they each have a paragraph.
See, I actually like that
in order to narrate the story.
Listen, I like that because it tells the same story, but 3 different,
This is the longest 2-page spread to read. Like you're sitting there for like 8 minutes, like reading a 2-page spread.
And it was
especially
really
when you're
tiny,
a kid.
Yeah, it was really tiny print too. It just
real tiny print.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I did like the concept.
That's interesting. Mark, are you also a collector?
Unfortunately, I am. I mean, I'm not like you. Like, I'm not Silver Age, all that stuff. I just, I collect. For me, it's like covers that I like. It's, work that my friends have done, things like that. I've moved more from comics into like original art in the last. I mean, I've always bought original art, but more heavily like in the last 10 years or so. You can't beat owning a 1 of 1 versus, comics that are, 1 in 50 or whatever, but original art, it's 1 of 1. That's all there is. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting because like I said, next week we're going to talk about OA art, and the whole show is going to be nothing about OA art. And Mark, the next following week, I might bring you back on the show because it's going to be all about indie.
Oh, sweet. Sure.
It's going to be all about indie books and basically where does it go wrong and where does it go right and why isn't it just not as popular? That kind of thing. So we're going to bring quite a few guests on here and stuff like that. Sweet. So it's stuff. Yeah. So we'll talk after because I would love to get your
for sure
and dive deeper on the indie stuff because someone who's outside looking in, I understand, and this is through the power of my friends on the show, that if I was to be a reader, that indie would be the way to go because indie does do better stories. That's what I get, right? But at the same time, they also do some pretty bad stories, right? And
it's a wide variety.
A lot of Kickstarters, a lot of campaigns, whatever, that just doesn't fall through. It just doesn't go through. It just falls flat. But we're going to kind of dive into that whole stuff. So kind of going back to the cons, everybody, if you could just join in us, Mark Fenton putting on con here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Mark, say it again because it's like
it's the longest con name out there. So we are the Southwest Comic Book and Creator Showcase.
Southwest.
So Southwest because we bring we bring most of our guests are like Texas, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, California. So our focus is here, not just Albuquerque, but we try to reach out across, the Southwest. Same thing with dealers, comic dealers we bring in from, coming in from all over. Similar to the Spawn Con, we don't do celebrities. We've had voice actors and stuff reach out. It's just, not our thing. Our focus really is on creators and comic books. And, there's just, if you take the time to talk to these creators, I mean, you could spend the whole weekend just talking to some of these guys about some of the amazing stuff they've done and work they've done. This year we have 5 guys that are working on Spawn or have worked on Spawn. And I think we have about the same number for Turtles people. Some of them have only done covers, but, Andy's a big Turtle guy. Ben Bates has done a ton of Turtle work, other stuff for IDW, Sonic and Mega Man, stuff like that. But like Alex has done covers, Aaron's done a Turtle cover, Raymond's done, Turtle stuff. And I don't know if a lot of people know it or not, but Andy was the original artist on The Last Ronin. There is an ash can out there. I don't think they published a ton of them, but there is an ash can out there preview, and it's all Andy's artwork in it.
I just sold one recently.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even know that they were out there. Like I found one on eBay and gave it to him because he didn't even know. Like he didn't receive any.
Thin, but big.
Yep. Yeah. It's not very many pages. It's really like paper thin. And they're not cheap on eBay. But it's, people didn't realize that Andy was the original artist. And he still has like original pages from that. So if you do like original art, these guys have it at the show. Aaron always brings portfolio. Alex has it. Skylar always brings stuff. Andy's got like stuff going way back to last year. He brought 3 pieces just to see how it would go. He had a Hulk piece that was in the San Diego Comic-Con comic from way back. He had a Teen Titans piece that DC never used that looked exactly like the cartoon. And then he had a Doctor Strange page that he brought from like Marvel Adventures, I think, that he did like back in the 90s.
Do they have, you mentioned Ninja Turtles. Do they have like turtle cons?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean that craze has got to be, and we don't obviously we don't have Kevin Eastman, we don't have, but a lot of people like Raymond's turtle stuff for the covers he did. Like I said, Ben Bates has done a ton of stuff. If you look him up, he did a lot of the Bebop and Rocksteady spinoffs as well.
I think there is a Cowabunga con or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I do, because they must go through the same shit you went through, right, Brandon? Where it's like the whole IP and the whole,
They might. I don't know. I just, that's the reason we didn't do a year 2 is we couldn't get approval. So,
because that was my question to you. I'm assuming you didn't do a year 2, right? Because it kind of fell through.
It ended up being a one-time deal.
So now that I'm thinking about it, and I've never heard you guys ever mention it, and I say you guys, Sam and Ish, you guys never talk about the turtle, like, what's the writing like on those books?
Terrible. No, current turtles or the
original? I'm talking about just in general. I mean, was it good? I guess in the beginning, and then it just dropped off.
That was good.
So turtles is always written really well. What's the girl's name who was writing it? Sophie
Campbell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was really good. She actually probably defined the turtles for the modern era because her run was ridiculously long. I can tell you that Jason Aaron's most recent run wasn't great, and Jason Aaron is a great writer. It's kind of picking up now, as in like the last they got a new writer at like issue 10.
Yeah.
Something like that, and it's really good again. I don't want to hate on Jason Aaron because he's writing Absolute Superman. I think he defined the Avengers in the modern era with Avengers Forever and his really long run on Avengers. Like, he's really good. His Bug Wars,
his Thor run too was incredible.
His Thor run, his Bug Wars is a fantastic indie book, really great world building. So I'm not hating on Jason Aaron because he's a great writer, but his most recent run, he just after Sophie finished, they rebooted Turtles and he did like the first 8 or 9 issues. Man.
I would think it would be kind of hard to follow. I think it would be hard to follow that act, right? When you're given the hand to write and continue writing, and you follow someone who's just like, man, that person just nailed it.
She turned a foot soldier into a turtle. We got Venus de Milo. We got she killed Shredder. Like, she really wrote the definitive Turtles for the modern era. You know what I mean?
I think that whole series was an amazing, reinvigoration of Turtles. It's just,
Bebop,
I don't think we talk about it a lot because
half to death.
Yeah, but Last Ronin gets all the accolades because it turned Turtles upside down, and people love it. Absolutely love it.
It got me interested in Turtles again.
Yep, exactly. There you go. And then the toys are amazing that have coincided with that. People were hoping that we were going to get a movie because I think it would re-energize the movie aspect of the Turtles franchise. But we got confirmation that they scrapped that, so that sucks.
Yeah.
She wrote a definitive run. I mean, she's the longest writer of the Turtles in the modern era.
I've talked about it. I could never get into it, even as a kid growing up. I couldn't get in. Turtles eating pizza in the sewer and a rat. I was a He-Man guy. I was a He-Man. And I was a Voltron guy, Robotech.
He-Man never used a
like that
sword,
stuff.
and he never threw a punch.
Did we talk about the trailer and your reaction to that?
You know what? I showed my wife the trailer, right? I already saw it and I put it on. She's like, "Oh, what is this?" I was, "Oh, is this He-Man?" So she's watched. She goes, "Well, you're going by yourself to go watch that." And I said, "Yeah."
They went with the Temu version of He-Man.
I like the trailer.
I don't have a problem with that. Now, He-Man is
I think he's more the Sheen version than the Temu version. Like I think
I don't know. He skipped leg day, that's for sure.
But I did like the trailer though. I wasn't disappointed.
I like me some Skeletor. I gotta admit. I mean, Skeletor actually looks like Skeletor looks like Skeletor, right? Will I go watch it in the theaters?
Yeah,
I probably will because I am a He-Man. I'm a He-Man person.
This is the year of movies. There's like 20 potentially great movies across all genres coming out this year. Like I'm gonna be in the theater like twice a month for like every year.
Do you watch that stuff, Mark? You watch all the movies and all that?
Yeah. No, I go. And I try to support the theaters because I know, just from the acting stuff I've done, like I know what the struggle is right now. And there's been stretches where I've wanted to go to the movies, but there wasn't anything that I wanted to see. Like it felt like we were in like a horror, section where everything was just like horror based or things like that. But yeah, no, I always go for the bigger, the Marvel, the DC stuff, any of the comic related stuff. I always go to the theater and I have a 9-year-old. So
related stuff this year, like a ton.
Yeah, for sure.
A ton.
I mean, I'm happy that they're gonna do. I mean, you got to get that bad taste of Dolph Lundgren in that whole shenanigans from the '80s out of my mouth. But I'm okay with it. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a massive. It's gonna be what it is. It's gonna make tons of money the first week, and then it's probably gonna drop off. And that's just And it's gonna be word of mouth either because people are gonna say, I would just wait for it to come on HBO or whatever it is, or it's fantastic. I'm gonna go watch it again.
Competing with a lot of potentially big films. You got Odyssey, you got Supergirl, Spider-Man, Avengers.
Yeah,
and like the list goes on. There's a Mario film coming out.
Yeah,
Supergirl really already had their screening, right? And people they're loving what they see. They like the dark humor. It's a little darker and all that.
I'm way more excited for it than I was Superman. I mean,
there's a new Narnia film.
I agree with that.
There's a Minions film. There's a new Toy Story.
Are they making a new
films coming out?
You said they're making a new Narnia film?
Yeah, it comes out Thanksgiving Day.
What?
Is it a continuation or is it a whole reboot?
It's a continuation.
No shit.
Comes out November. Then for those who don't and aren't into the geeky stuff, there's another Devil Wears Prada coming out, which the first one was a massive hit. I'm just talking about like films with really big potential. You know what I mean?
I know Brandon's gonna go watch that.
I watch the first one all the time.
There's a Mario film. There's a Minions film. There's a Toy Story 6, I think.
But it's interesting that movies, I think, hopefully will make a comeback because we talked about this, Mark, a couple of shows back. It's so much easier to just wait. It's going to stream at home, right? In 3 weeks anyways. And you get to pause it, go take a leak, go take a Duke. You're warming up your food. You're taking a phone call, and all the TVs nowadays are 70 inches, 80 inches in your home living room. This isn't, it changes everything because back in the old days, people did not like to go to the movies because the screaming kids in front of you or someone's trying to open that wrapper and it's loud and all that, or someone on their phone, and it ruined that movie experience. Well, I'll just wait for it to get home.
This is why I sit in the handicap section every time.
And this is why he sits in the handicap section. But the thing is, and it's true, he does actually. He does sit in the handicap section.
It's too close for me.
Seat by myself.
I could.
Nobody next to me.
Yeah, I can't. It's too close for me as well. I got to sit in the middle, wait, kind of not in the way in the back, but I got to have that periphery. I can't watch a movie like this.
I'm the first one out when it's over. All of that.
You lazy bastard. So the thing is that Marvel movies, DC movies, we're used to them, but now I think everyone's going to start looking for those indie movies, right? Because we've seen that these indie books have turned into indie shows on Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff, and
they're easier to option.
Decent success, right? Last of Us was a big hit. Now we're
That's
hearing
not from an indie book though. That's from like a major video game.
Oh, from a video game, but they became a comic book as well. And then but you're right, it's from the video game. But regardless, it became a show. People loved it. Walking Dead, people loved it. And you could probably do a few stinkers that came out that people did not love so much. Why the Last Man, Paper Girls.
I mean, Old Guard for Netflix coming out of COVID. Old Guard 1 was really dope. It was a big.
Yes, it was. The second one left me. The second one left me wanting to see the third just to see what the fuck happens, and that's the only reason, right? I wasn't clamoring.
I mean, you got Invincible, which is like crazy. Right. Super Crooks wasn't bad. So indies are just much easier to option because they don't have to go through Marvel licensing or DC licensing.
Yeah. Right. Now we're talking Exquisite Corpses. Oh, have you read Exquisite Corpses, Mark?
So I read the first two, and then I haven't gone back to it yet. But that's just me. Like, I just get lazy, and I'm like, I'll wait for the trade. I'll wait for whatever. But Aaron did a cover for one of the recent issues, and so asking me, did you pick up the cover? Did you pick up the cover? And I'm always like, dude, your covers are like 1 in 25. Nobody in Albuquerque's buying 25 copies of the book. I can't buy the book, at the shop here. And I'm going to have to pay a premium online to get this book. Or a shop will say, hey, if you want to buy 25, we'll give you this book. But I'm like, I don't want to buy 25 copies of the book.
Did you like the story? What you read? Did you enjoy it?
I mean, I think, and I like Tynion as a writer for the most part, but I think a lot of his stories just have like basic concepts. So like that's not like a new idea of just bringing, we're going to bring these people in, they're the worst of the worst and they're going to fight it out. And then, we're betting on them while they're doing it. So I don't think, and it's tough, to come up with original ideas. A lot of stuff is
he's not writing every issue to be fair.
But. Yeah. But for me, it wasn't, it's not I don't know.
It's like Purge plus Squid Game plus.
So
I enjoy the book.
The unique thing about Exquisite Corpses is the execution because they're actually playing the game.
Correct.
Exquisite Corpses.
Yeah.
With the book, not just the story, but it's one writer, one artist, one creative team who writes something. You know the game Exquisite Corpses, Caesar. I know you don't. No. So it's a very old game. I want to say turn of the century, and what it entails is, for instance, Mark draws a part of a picture, and then he hands it to me, or a poem, or a piece of writing, and he hands it to me. And I don't know what he wrote or drew. And I add on to it. And then I pass it to Sam. And then Sam either adds, if it's a poem or writing, adds something to it without knowing what we wrote. And then when it gets around all of us, when it's done, that is the Exquisite Corpse. That is the
interesting.
Whatever we have is and that's what they're doing with this book. There's an editing team. The editors know where they want to go. They have an outline that they have to follow. But the creator proceeding, as each creator adds to it, they don't actually know what happened prior to. And that's how the card game will be played. But it flows cohesively because there's an editor who's making sure all of this stuff is tied into a nice, pretty package.
I got to tell you, I love this fucking show because no joke, I learn something every damn Tuesday, and it's most likely ish. And see, I had no idea why it was. So is that why it's called? Why it's called? Why is it?
And there's a card game attached to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Their marketing is like they have there. You can get specific cards like at different locations, or with the bag stuff and things like that. So it's definitely got that the tie-in to if you got to collect them all, then and then they had a stop in Denver, I think, And so you could get, a card there that was specific to that stop.
So let me ask you.
It's like crazy popular right now. So
Yeah.
I created the Facebook group for it. We're about to hit 800 members.
I got it. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Why is the book popular? Is it because of the writing or is it because of the marketing and branding behind it?
I think it's both now.
Yeah, it's a
the
mix.
Writing at first was, people were really intrigued by the idea. They've enjoyed
even
the
though
story.
even though it's not original, even though it's a mishmash of
even though it's not
storyline.
original, I think the designs of the different killers really excited people to see who was going to come out of those battles winning. Has been an interesting conversation every issue, but then how they marketed it with like a launch party and the corpse tour where they're going city by city, and at each town, at each stop, there's an exclusive card. So then there's a chase aspect of that, in addition to the cards that are coming in poly bags for every issue. So,
Genius.
They've done play demos at
and Sam
the
created
various
the group.
huge cons.
Yeah, they had all kinds of stuff at New York.
Yeah, gameplay has been pretty solid, and then they've got variants like crazy. I mean, my first cover was Exquisite Corpses, but then
I did one that you did a video for.
Ish did one, yep, and then it has been. I mean, there's secret ones popping up all over the place. Like there's one that you could only get at New York Comic Con.
So I'll give you really quick, the technical definition for you, Caesar. So it's Exquisite Corpse, or Cadavre Exquis, is a surrealist collaborative game where multiple people create a single artwork, drawing, poem, or story by adding their parts sequentially, each person only seeing the end of the previous contribution, resulting in surprising, often bizarre and collective creations. Named after the first line generated by the game, the Exquisite Corpse will drink the new wine, which was the first ever version of the game. That was what was created. The Exquisite Corpse will drink the new wine.
So it sounds like Mad Libs.
Yes.
It sounds like that. Or telephone. You tell somebody down the line and it ends up being some wacky story by the end of the turn, right? So that's
a creative exercise.
It's very interesting. It's very I can see where the mystique of this is. And my question to you guys, and I'm gonna say mainly the ones who are reading it, does it still have its chops? Is it still like as interesting or is it starting to
there was some
get a little
duds.
longer than
2 and 3 was a dud. I reviewed 2. I didn't. There were some duds. There were some great issues too, though. Like the one I did an exclusive of was phenomenal, and because I did exclusive.
You want to see who wins it too. You want to see who comes out. In the end. Yeah.
How many killers are there?
James Tynion, because I think he's a great writer, is that similar to Cullen Bunn, I think he overextends himself. So you can kind of tell what he's passionate about and what he isn't, because he has his hands in so many pots. He's writing so many different things. You can kind of tell, like Something is Killing the Children, for instance, while many people consider to be great, it's very simple to read. Like you can read it in less than 5 minutes. Whereas Department of Truth, you're going to be sitting down reading it for a while and digesting what he's writing, because you could tell like he's really passionate about Department of Truth. You can tell World Tree is an easier read. He's doing a lot. He's just kind of doing a lot. You know what I mean? And I love Something.
Well, I think that's why this one is
biggest fans. Say again.
Smart. I think this one's smart on their part, because they're switching artists, they're switching writers, so they're not missing deadlines.
Yep.
It goes through an editorial process to make sure everything's on the same page, so you're not getting something hashed together. That being said, I mean, the quality of the story has been up and down, but I think it's going to be, all right, what happens at the end? That's going to hook people. This is confirmed for 5 volumes already, plus one-shots.
And a prequel volume.
Yeah, so I don't think, I mean, the comic community or like who supports it is excited for that, because I mean, it's already confirmed that it's going to become something, whether it's animated or live action. Something is coming with this one.
How many killers are there?
13.
So, 13.
Yeah.
So does that mean there's going to be only like 20 I mean, is there already a end run? Like it's only a 25 issue run, or
no, it's only at number 9.
This
It's gonna
volume
end at
1
issue
is going to go
13.
to issue 13.
13, yeah.
okay,
And then volume 2, there's rumors that volume 2 is going to take us back into the past, so we're going to get like an 80s story. So
there we go. So then you can even
You're
do a
hooked.
story from the 70s, you go story from the 40s, or the blah blah, right? Whole new
I mean,
characters,
yeah, you can
whole
go
new
all the way
thing.
until
It's a
the
complicated
formation
twist. It's a
of
complicated twist on Last Man Standing.
of
Right? They don't even
America.
have to go back in the past, right? They could just go to another country
Yeah.
And do that. That's right.
and just
right.
do it and just show how
That's
it's done.
the genius of it.
in
It's
other
kind of like
countries.
That's the
American
genius
Horror
of it.
Story. They'll be able to go and create like an iteration of this same game that the elite is playing from the foundation of America in 1776 all the way until in the future.
So Caesar, what it
That's
is
genius.
America is run
It
by
is
13
smart.
powerful families. America is run by 13 of the most powerful families in America. America is run by 13 of the most powerful families in America. And every year, the leader of those families is chosen by they go to a city, they take over the whole town, they get rid of the people if they have to, and they play this game where they have their killers that represent each family kind of fight. They have to kill each other. And the last man standing is represented, that family wins and has power for that year, is the leader of the most powerful families for that year.
See, Mark, if you would have wrote this, I would have read it.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I mean, I think this is a good story, and I think it goes back to the hot hand as well. Like, Tynion's a known writer, and people like his stuff, so that's big. I mean, some of the writers he got on the book as well, like Pornsack is a really great horror writer. So I think it's a combination of the right things. But I think, some of his stuff, I find it very simplistic. Like it's not,
Tinian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Wind, but Wind isn't like,
not as popular as
Sam and I are both mega fans. But if I'm speaking matter of factly, it's very simple, very easy to read. You can finish it in under 5 minutes.
I'm going to pick your brain one more time, Mark, only because I find this story fascinating, but I haven't read it. But from what I hear about it, I like the concept, and I want to see what you think about this writer and this run.
Oh,
Philadelphia, yeah, no, I'm a fan. Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal. What we do?
Wow, you own that book?
Yeah, I got it at the Old Man Con
That
November.
modern book?
It's an amazing series.
And I got it because of Ish. Oh, and because we had Rodney Bars on the show once.
Didn't they? I haven't finished the series, but didn't they kill it? And they're going to relaunch it or something, or
It's coming back. Yeah.
That's coming back. Mm-hmm.
But the concept is, I kind of like the concept, right? And this, when I heard about this, the first thing that popped in my head is movie.
Yeah.
This is already a written movie. This is a Netflix. This is a 6-part Netflix series if you wanted to, or Amazon. It kind of just wrote itself.
The thing about that book for me, I like when a writer and an artist and a creative team can come together and make me feel something. Like when I read We Live #1, when I got to the end, like I felt like this, like my heart sunk into my stomach when I got to the end of We Live. And there was a moment when I read Philadelphia #1 where I kind of felt afraid. There's like a scene where this guy walks into like a project tenement building and he turns on a light and he's just like, fuck. And there's just these hundreds of vampires just hanging from the ceiling. And it was just so effective. You know what I mean? He just walks in and he's just like, fuck, because it's a wrap. Like they just open their eyes and it just does something to you. And I kind of, that there's very few books that have impacted me that way, that actually elicited something like palpable that I could feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, listen, this is fantastic. This show's never ever dull, Mark. I mean, you're going to see, and if you guys like what this guy is putting out his books with the con coming out here in November, and I'm sorry, in April of
So
this
glad
year.
to meet you, bro.
Yeah, you too, man. That's great. I always love meeting fellow comic, people that are fans, and I always like to hear feedback. It's for me. I always like to talk to other creators too, like what they're working on, stuff like that. And now getting into the show stuff. It's always great to talk to other people that do this or are trying to do this, and bounce ideas off each other. Get feedback, stuff like that. Never thought, I love doing shows. Didn't think it would be as much fun running one, but it hasn't been too bad. Gives me an opportunity, to meet new people. Like I said,
tell me the one recognizable character that you would like to write.
So, it's funny because people have asked me before, and do you have a Batman story? Do you have a Superman story? Do you have whatever? And I think everybody has that like in their back pocket of, if this ever happened, I could do this. For me, I would really love to write like a Plastic Man miniseries.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've always loved, like, Frank Miller made him like this, in Dark Knight. He was this like super incredible, incredibly strong, character that has to be like, locked down and stuff like that. And I don't think it's just, you can do the humor part with the stretching and all that stuff also, but I think, yeah. I just think it's a great character.
My favorite Plastic Man one. There was one where Plastic Man ended up being like a dress for Wonder Woman, like a skin tight.
Oh wow! I just want to be a dog.
I have to find that. That's hysterical.
That's funny. But anyways, like I said, if you like Mark, and we'll one more time, Mark, go ahead and we'll do your thing here again for your
for
show
sure.
in April.
Yeah, year 4 for us, April 18th, 19th. If you get a VIP pass or package, Friday night we do a VIP kickoff party where we have all the creators, all the vendors are on hand. So it's more of an intimate kind of talk to those people. They're not at their table. If you want to talk to them about the stuff they're working on or things they've done. This is the biggest show for us of the 4 that we've done. Lots of creators. We've got panels this year. We do exclusive giveaways with prints and things like that. I don't know, because we have a Spawn panel Saturday. I don't know if Thomas is going to talk about anything coming up with Spawn in the future. But like I said, he will have exclusive prints for the show with Brett Booth and Raymond Gay's art. That I think they limit those to I don't know if it's 50 or I think it's a low run though. So he'll have those. We'll do a Turtle panel on Sunday. We do breaking into comic. We do a lot of the panels that most shows do. We'll do breaking into comics. We have editors on hand that are doing free portfolio reviews. So, if you want to get your stuff looked at, Thomas and Matt are really good at that, giving feedback. Amp Comics will be there. They just launched San Diego last year. So they'll be talking about what they've got coming up and stuff like that.
I'm going to pitch a story where there's 14 families who are trying to rule the world, and they're gonna have this battle.
It's a story of a lovely lady.
All right, Ish.
Who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls.
Very lovely girls, yeah. Trust me. Next week, everybody, we're going to talk about OAs. It's going to be a fun show. We have Kvan from my buddy Kevin from Instagram, and Anthony's comic book art is also going to be joining us along with Nerds Pub, Sarkis. So we get including Ish and Sam, and hopefully Dan will be stop blowing his boogers and feel a lot better. And then the week after that, it's gonna be an indie show. We're gonna talk about indies, and that's a popular one because I've noticed more people are more into indies now than before. But what the hell the fuck do I know? I don't read. I'm just going based on what I see on the trends and stuff like that. And I'm gonna ask our returning customer here, Mark. I would love for you to join
for sure.
that show,
Yeah, no.
and
Yeah.
we'll talk off air and in the green room and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
so that
for
being
sure.
said, this is around the time where we go around and everyone starts plugging their stuff. I'm gonna go with you, Brandon, because you got some stuff going on, don't you? Don't you? Or you don't really have anything anymore?
No,
Where the hell are you at, anyways?
What's that?
Where are you at? Ontario? Where are you at?
Right, yeah, Ontario, California. Right now, I just flew in. Literally, just flew in. No, I gonna try to get my Mad Viking comics going again. I shut the brick and mortar. We're gonna switch to online, but I've been shoving stuff out of a warehouse out of storage into a warehouse. So I've been busy with that.
It's a pain.
Yeah, I'm trying to organize it, get it sorted, inventory it again. But I'm actually thinking about doing something like this, a podcast live stream, but it's going to be focused on mostly Spawn and image or indie stuff.
All right. So. Well, I you know me. I'll be more than happy, and I already told you I'm more than happy to bring you on. And once you get it going, we'll promote it. I'll be a guest on your show because I read everything that Spawn wrote. All that good stuff. Spawn wrote everything. I know what I said, you son of a bitch. All right, well, Brendan, thank you, man. I appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
That was great. Yeah, man. All right, Sam, what do you got going on? I know you have some stuff going.
Oh man, we have a lot of stuff going on right now. We just dropped our exclusive for Comics the Magazine, which was just on FOC last week. FOC ended with 100,000 copies ordered. It is a magazine that is going to take a behind-the-scenes look in the industry. Hopefully, it becomes this generation's like wizard-esque type book, which is exciting.
That's a cool cover, by the way. It was a cool cover.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. We are the only exclusive for this book. It's hard to see right now.
You're good.
But the cover is done by Sveta Shubina. This is the Halloween trio. It is the first published appearance of these characters. She's doing a Kickstarter for a book that she is launching, which supposedly has been picked up by a major comics publisher also. So we only have graded copies left. We had 1,000 and we're pretty much sold out, which is pretty insane. We're really proud of that.
That's such an old school looking cover. It's great. I think
it is. She's been one of, she's just been a stellar.
She's hot right now. Yeah, she's hot.
With her so far. She's been so gracious. Working with her rep, Adam, has been a treat. They're amazing people. So give her a follow, support her art. This week, we also have an announcement. It's supposed to be teased, I believe, today or tomorrow. But we should have something a little invincible coming up. So that'll be fun. So give me a follow at Comic Sam Collects on Instagram, where you can see all of that. And then I've been doing a decent amount of live sales on Whatnot, Comic Sam. I'm probably going to do a full absolute Batman drop, full run. So give a follow.
Yeah, Sam's always good stuff, man. I love that guy. I talk to as if you're not here, but I love that guy. All right, one more time, Mark. What we got going on? The man of the 2 hours. But once again, I know you just did it.
Yeah, not just the show, but we've got so Merciless. We did a Kickstarter for issue 1, and so we'll be fulfilling that in the next couple weeks. And then we're in talks with some of the bigger publishers to get the miniseries out. I'm working on a book with Jake Tecito called Merciless, or not Merciless, I'm sorry. That was this book, Divergence, which is, it tells the story of a couple of murders that happened in real life in the town we grew up in. And so kind of puts a fictional spin on it, but it follows the cases for the most part. And then, we've got the longest show name in the U.S., the Southwest Comic Book Creator Showcase Year 4 here in Albuquerque. very affordable. Like I said, we $6 a day, $10 for 2 days, $50 for our VIP. We do lots of giveaways. We partner with Dark Horse, with Mad Cave, with Boom. They send us, different things to give out as well to promote. We have panels this year. All the creators are super great to talk to. They've all worked on, amazing books and done amazing work. So yeah, definitely, I've still got comic stuff coming out this year as well. So
fantastic. All right. Then we go with the guy who's going to close that out, as always. My brother from another color ish.
Yo. I don't have much right now. I'm obviously preparing for Iconicon, going out to Syracuse to drop off some promotionals and secure some vendors. Y'all can always find me on Comic Sense on Facebook, COMIXSENSE, Comic Sense on Instagram, page, group. Everybody follow, everybody join up, do that. Or you can find me at Comic Sense the Shop, where I kind of live. I need to pitch a tent there because I'm there so often. So you can find me there. Other than that, shout out to everyone that watched tonight. If you watched on Facebook, please go over to YouTube, click a thumbs up, give a thumbs down, something, right? Press play on the video, watch it for a couple seconds, do something. Don't do nothing. Caesar brings out this dope content every week. Make sure y'all follow Comic Sam, follow Mark, follow everyone that's been in the stream. If y'all can find them, follow them, stay abreast of what they're doing, support their Kickstarter, support everything that they're doing. We're community here, right? Like we want to help each other out. We want to contribute and make sure that we all contribute on some level to this medium. This show exists because of this medium, right? We all somehow contribute to this medium, and we want to make sure that this medium can continue to exist. So help each other out. That's all I really got, because I'm really tired and I don't have a lot. But I really am always honored to be on the show, and it's really dope meeting you guys and kicking with y'all today too. I just want to say that, man, it's really dope. I'm gonna find you guys and I'm gonna follow you. I want to be able to share your con to my group of followers.
Hey, listen, I always say, I like to bring people together that normally wouldn't meet, and I don't know how I do it every week. I really don't, but it's successful and it happens. And people return to watch and people return to be guests, and I'm doing something right. I don't know what the fuck it is, but
you are
something, right? It really is. It's entertaining. No. And I told Mark in the green room, it's like having my friends over in my living room and just shooting the shit, and that's all it is. We don't read questions from a piece of paper. I don't have things set up. It's just whatever pops in my mind. I talk about it, and we talk about it for the next 30 minutes, right? And that's the way it goes, because you don't have friends over and you go. You don't have friends over and then go, hold on, I want to talk about Doomsday, the trailer, and then after that we're gonna talk about. It doesn't work that way. This is the way it works out. But that being said, where you reach me, the Real Dracula's Wolf on Instagram. I still do a few voiceovers here and there. So, if you ever want a voiceover for Iconicon coming soon, that's all you got to do is, people like that shit. Next week, I said we're going to have a show about OAs. K-Van, Anthony's comic books art is going to be on. We have Nerds Pub. We have Circus the next following week for Indie Talk, including I'm going to try to have Mark back on, including these two guys, Dan, Feel Better, Brandon. Thanks so much for landing in California, jumping in your car and sitting there for almost 2 hours. Well, you
shout out to Brandon, man.
Brandon's like 6'9". He rented like a Mini Cooper to drive cross country.
I'm not happy with what I got, but
it looks tiny.
Are you really in a Mini Cooper?
What's that?
Are you really in a Mini Cooper?
No, I'm in a little Barbie Jeep thing.
Not like a Geo Tracker, right?
Yeah, he got a Geo
Suzuki Sidekick.
Yeah,
I asked for a 4-wheel drive, but they wouldn't let me get one.
You got a Dodge Saturn, whatever it is.
They
the Malibu.
No, you would love this. They actually shoved me in a Fiat one time.
How tall are you? You're the small guy, right, Brandon? How tall are you?
I'm 6'2", 350.
That's it. But he's 350. So he's my height, but he's 350. So it's different. So when I meet you, Brandon. So look at Brandon. I'm looking forward to now seeing you in April. I mean, we got to make this happen.
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're gonna get to meet Mark and
yeah. If you guys want to come Friday, just let me know and we'll put you on the list. It's fun. It's it's a more intimate chance to talk to to creators and stuff like that. Brett won't be there unfortunately, but the other Spawn guys will be there.
Yeah. Good. Let me know. Let me know. I'll talk to Mark on your behalf, Brandon, for that.
Yeah.
That being said, everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, and don't forget 50% off everything for this month, February, on realcomicbooks.com. That's 50% off everything, people. You go, you like something, and it's $200. Boom, there you go, $100. Take it home with you. And then we also have the William Russell's The Mummy, which he's doing that with what is it? Covered by David Gerard. Dan Kemp did the colors on it. And to be fair, I did say that I was going to show at least the cover for that. So let's go ahead and just at least show the cover for that, because it's the least I can do. Here we go. All right. We got that going on.
We don't see
regular 35.
Yeah, we don't see it.
You don't see it?
Now we do. Yeah.
There we go.
How you doing? All right, there you go. So we got the regular for 35, the foil for 25, and we got 10. We got 35 those, 25 10s, and then we also have the there's a special one. Let me see if I can get to it. It's right here. We have an all gold 1 of 1. So there you go. William likes to do the classics, the Mummy. He likes Frankenstein, Dracula. He does all that good stuff. So go pre-sale on realcomicbooks.com. And yeah, man, good times. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next week. Peace. Now, if I could just do this.
Comic Menu Podcast is sponsored by Realistic Comic Books.